Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guide. This is another episode of the Raycaster game in C++ series, and in this video we are going to continue by implementing different floors and ceilings in our game. So currently with what we have got, if I just run make right now, actually I am not in my project directory, so I'm gonna go here, and if I run make right now, you can see that we get a map. If I open up, for example, test.map, you can see that we get our map here, and while we do have different colored walls, if I, for example, open up test2.map, I'm going to open this up, and as you can see, we've got like different colored walls here. There are some that are red brick ones, there are some that are blue, and some of these got this moss on them. Well, we have got different walls, but the floor is the same everywhere. So where we look, the floor is the same, and also there are no ceilings present. So this is a bit of a problem, because of course we want to have different colored floors and also some ceilings in some areas as well. So we need to implement that. Now in order to do that, we can do that by dividing our map into multiple layers, one for the walls, one for the floor, and one for the ceiling. First of all, we are going to change the organization of our map structure a bit. So I have already changed that. Let me open a map.h and map.cpp. So you can see in here, instead of having a get grid that will return the whole map grid, now we'll just the outside program will not care about how the map grid is internally represented. We will only have a function here called get map cell, which is going to be marked const, of course, and another function here which is going to be set map cell, which we had created in the previous episode, but this get map cell has been created like right now, so this function will be used instead of accessing the grid directly. So if I, and you can see that the get grid function is now gone, we don't actually have it, and that makes this type def unnecessary since it's not being used anywhere else. So we can just go here and paste this like that, and we can just remove this. Alright, we have got that. So with this, we are going to now go ahead and open up map.cpp. In here you can see we have got a number of different functions here, but the new one is the get map cell. Now this, just like set map cell, does a bunch of make sure that the actual x and y that coordinates that are given are within bounds. If they are within bounds, it returns the correct value. If they are not within bounds, it just returns 0. And you just need to make sure that you mark this function as const so that you can use it even if you've got a const reference. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And get the other function, for getting the map actual grid is now gone, and we don't actually use that anymore. So the only place where we currently were using our map, getting the grid, was in render.cpp. So in here, if I go here, you can see that earlier on we had code like this. So we had got, basically, if I go back here, you can see we had we were getting the grid like this, and then we were using that to do a bunch of things. Now we don't actually have the grid anymore, so instead of doing that, we just set our hit with get map cell directly. We can just access it from map post.x and map post.y, and we can use get map cell to get our correct value. So that will get that done. So let's run make right now, and you can see that now it seems to, if it compiles everything, it seems to work quite well. We've got everything here. I can go ahead and open up test2.map, and we can kind of move around the map, and everything works here. You can see it works perfectly, flawlessly, and we are now using our get map cell function. So now it's time to go ahead and implement actual floor and everything. Okay, so as I said, we are going to use a layer based system for our maps in order to allow different floors and ceilings, and for that I have already done the basic setup, and let's quickly go over it. And be aware that from now on the videos are going to be a bit more of the concise form, because now we are going to be doing a lot of stuff, and covering that line by line is not going to be possible. So we are going to just give a quick overview, and it should be pretty simple to understand. So if I go under public map here, you can see we have got a bunch of static const expressions here. These are going to represent our different layers. So we have got 0 as layer walls, floor, and ceiling, along with a number of layers which is going to be 3. And this system will allow us to add multiple layers as well. And now where we had our grid earlier, we have got a vector of vector, or instead of having a vector of ints, we have got a vector of an array of type int with the elements of num layers in it. We did not make the last one a vector because we already know the amount of layers in it is static, so it's now an array of integers with number of layers. And in map.cp, and you can see that we have removed two constructors here. We only have one constructor, the default one, that just initializes with a cell size. And and those constructors weren't really needed, so I just removed them. And we have got our set map cell and get map cell here, which are taking in layers. So they are got an extra argument here, which is the actual layer, and draw function has also got an extra argument, which is layer. So this will basically tell us which layer to draw and which layer we want to modify or get. So if I go under map.cvp, you can see we can go down. First of all, you can see that we have removed all of those extra constructors from here. Now in map we have got our layer argument, and in here you can see we check if our grid is empty and exit and all of that. But when we are actually getting the grid value, for example in this if statement we say grid y x and then the actual layer of the grid. And similarly for set texture rect we do same thing. And if I go under here where we are getting our map cell, now we perform an extra test checking whether our layers is less than num layers, and if that's the case then we return our grid y x and layer. When setting it we just do the same thing. And now inside of load we have currently got a temporary system up and running, which is that we just currently hardcode the layer as the walls layer, and we just output the input the wall layer here, and we don't actually do any of the other layers. And similarly for this we also output the wall layer like that. Yeah, that kind of actually works, but it's not that it's a bit of temporary arrangement. Of course we need to actually write other layers as well. Now in render.cpp, when accessing our map cell we say map colon layer walls, so we tell it that we want to access from the walls layer, because when we are doing raycasting we only care about the walls. Inside of editor.cpp now we have got a bunch of a different arrangement, which is that we have got a variable called the current layer, which will store the current layer that we have got selected that we are editing. By default we set it to the walls layer, and now if I go down here you can see that basically yeah. So if I go here you can see we have got map.draw window and current layer, and we just draw the map inside of editor. And also when we are setting our map cell we provide it with our current layer. We do no longer draw the map in main.cpp, instead we just draw it in editor.cpp with our current layer. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the new layered system. Of course currently nothing will actually change, so if I run this and I open up any map, for example test2.map, we still get everything like we used to do earlier. However, now we have got a layer based system underlying this. So now we need to get our load and save working with different layers. Now if we could just change the format of this, and the problem with that is that the two maps that we have created, not really two, just one with a little bit of changing. So the map that we have created would go to waste because it would be a different format and will not be readable by our engine. So one way to fix that is we can kind of use a little bit of a trick, which is that when we are saving the map, we are going to, let me just go here and remove that, and instead of saying the and grid y x and layer, we are gonna say grid y x dot data here, which is going to give us a like normal pointer array representation of this. And for this we are going to get the size of this and multiply that by the number of layers. So this is gonna give us our actual size, so including all layers, all the three layers, and this is going to give us that size. And now we can remove this variable, we no longer need it. Actually we do need it kind of, but we are gonna just say 0 here because it's same regardless, so we are gonna say that. And num layers, all of that should work. Now let's go ahead and run this, run make, and I'm gonna go here, go ahead and open up our test.map. Actually let's open up our test2.map and let's save this as our test.map. And now I'm going to close this and close this down, and now we are going to modify our load function. So we are going to not have any layer anymore here, and inside of this we are going to do pretty much the same thing, multiplied by that by the number of layers. And inside of this we are going to say grid yx dot data. Instead of accessing the actual layer, we are going to just access all of the layers, and this will allow us to write them really easily. So now if I run make, we get here, I can go ahead and open up test.map, and now we get it working quite correctly. And with that we have actually got a multi-layered system working. Or if I open up test2.map, you can see it does work kind of. So I can open test.map as well, and this works too. So yeah, that basically works. So we have got this system working, and now we can load different layers correctly. So now the only thing that's left is to integrate this into our renderer and editor, but we'll be doing that in the next video, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to like and subscribe as well so you don't miss the next one, and share this video with other people as well, and bye.